March rolled round. That sounds so British, dilly-dallying. This is when everything started. Oh my god, I turned 20 this year. Why the fuck were garden centres open? Hi everyone, so welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Chloe and I am a writer and a musician here on YouTube. Today, as you can tell by the title, I am doing a yearly review of 2020. Interesting. I feel like the most reviews of 2020 are just going to be like 2020 was shit for everyone, for most people anyway. And while it was a bad year for me, it wasn't my worst year. My worst year was definitely 2018. I believe I did a 2018 review. Yeah, I think it was what I did at the beginning of 2019. So I will leave that video up in the cards and in the description, along with my kind of like other video about 2018, what happened that year. Let's get started with the 2020 review. And if you didn't know, I do these review videos by month, so I'm going to be talking about everything that happened in each month. It's a lot, I know, but if you are prepared to stick around for however long this video ends up being, you might want to grab something to eat and drink as well. So January might actually be a good place to start. Obviously, January was pretty normal. You know, we were just living our normal lives. But at this point, COVID was actually around. Like, I believe the first time it had like ever ceased to exist was November the 17th, 2019. Which was it is actually my boyfriend's birthday, funnily enough. COVID was around, COVID-19 was around, but the pandemic wasn't. So we were all living our normal lives, doing our everyday things. Not much really happened in January, but normal life and just going about our days. Nothing really big happened, but you know, I was still on my level 3 music course. I was going in 4 days a week. Yes, that's unheard of now, but I was going in 4 days a week. Something really ironic about January was that at one point during the month, I think it might have been at the very beginning because it was so long ago, but I remember at the beginning of the year that I wished for more time to do the things that I wanted to do. So like more time to do everything that I wanted to do and loved to do in my free time. Naturally, I had no clue what was about to happen, and so that's all I can really say in January, to be completely honest. You know, my boyfriend was still at college because he was on his second year of level 3 music, but I was only on my first year, and I only ever did my first year. And then February was pretty much exactly the same. I don't actually remember much that happened. One of the things I do remember doing though is starting to plan out my FMP, my final major project, or Unit 8 for my music course. And that's what we do on UA Out. I was starting to plan for that. I had this idea to do a load of recordings and make an EP, which I'll get to that in a minute. But then COVID-19 popped up in the UK in February, I'm pretty sure. So cases started popping up in the UK in February, but back then it wasn't a big deal. It was not a pandemic. I don't even think it was an epidemic at that point. Actually, it might have been. But yeah, like I said, it really wasn't a big deal back then. Then March rolled around. Do you know what it feels like? It feels like we're living in a book. March was like the turning point, the catalyst for Act 2, and we're still in Act 2 because the government just seemed to keep dilly-dallying, you know? That sounds so British, dilly-dallying, but it's exactly what they're doing, to be fair. Cases started rising, but it still wasn't a big deal until the end. I feel like I'm just doing like a COVID review now, like this is when COVID hit. This is when COVID became a pandemic. This is when COVID started killing people. I mean, COVID started killing people back in 2019, like December. But like, it still wasn't a big deal for the UK or England specifically until the end of March. But the thing with March is that it was mine and my boyfriend's 1 year anniversary, mine and Ryan's 1 year anniversary in 2020 on the 14th of March. So we were quite lucky that we still got to celebrate our anniversary, like properly, like on a proper dinner date. We got quite lucky with that, I think. And then the whole world was basically shut down. Not the whole world, but like the whole nation was shut down on the I want to say the 20th, but I think it was actually the 23rd of March. Yes, we went into lockdown it was either the 20th or the 23rd. My brain is so foggy. Okay, at first, you know, obviously I was, like, a lot of things changed, and I obviously wasn't going into college anymore. So I was adjusting to working from home as a student. This is when everything started. Everything wrong started, but I was doing okay in March for those for those 10 days. I was doing really well. I was adjusting. I thought I was adjusting really well, and I thought lockdown was going to be easy and would be over soon. Oh, how wrong I was. And then we move into April. I actually was on like a half-term break from college, so I wasn't doing any college work, but so I participated in Camp NaNoWriMo. I'm not entirely sure what I actually did. Was I writing? I think I might have been working on my second draft, something like that, of Scarlet Blue Skies, I think. I don't know. And so I was still adjusting to college life at home, online, but things did slowly start to decline, especially with my mental health. And I also actually started taking on extra shifts at work. I believe it was like understaffed because obviously some staff was shielding, so they couldn't work, and then, you know, there would have been staff off sick as well, I believe, and so I took on extra shifts where it was needed. And I think I started doing that at the very beginning of April, when I wasn't even on a half-term break from college, which was a bad idea in hindsight. If you are a college student and you work part-time, don't offer to take on more shifts, because the work takes a lot longer to do anyway. You don't need to feel so pressured with more shifts. Yeah, I also even put in my notes here that in hindsight I really shouldn't have done this, because I did have college work as well, but my mum was also working from home because she basically just does an office job, but she was able to take me to and from work. My brother and sister were also home, but the issue is that obviously my sister was meant to be doing her GCSEs, so she never actually got to do them. And then my brother, well, that's a whole other story. 14-year-old brothers, am I right? Also in April, lockdown was not lifted, as we all know. It started to affect me a lot, bearing in mind that back at this point I was spending a lot of time indoors, and it was, you know, it was just really sunny outside, and I would spend most of my time indoors, and I wouldn't move my body. I wouldn't do anything but sit at my desk and do my college work. And then May, oh my god, so much happened in May, because May was actually a deadline month for me. May has always kind of been like deadline month, like this is when you get all of your work done. Even though that's not when the college year ends, the last month is usually doing things like work experience and finishing off any work that you just didn't get a chance to do in May. But also in May, I went on a YouTube hiatus, and like I said, lockdown was still not lifted. Like I said, I carried on with my college work because I was on deadline and I needed to get it done, because it was just like a weekly project sort of thing where I had to do something every week to build up my final major project. And the thing is, with May, I was really struggling because of the lockdown. It really affected me, and I don't think I really realised how much of a tremendous impact it would have on me and like my body and my brain as well. I just struggled with everything. I was struggling with work. I was struggling with just the concept of lockdown, I guess. And like, if you're watching and you have like Asperger's or any form of autism, then you will know how difficult it can be for us on the spectrum, us atypicals. I'm just saying that as like an umbrella term. I'm not saying that they're all a certain way, but I do think that, you know, when you're on the spectrum, it's a lot harder to kind of deal with. One of the reasons why I was struggling with work so much is because kind of like April was kind of like the best month, even though, you know, my decline started in April. April was really good because that was when my workplace had a lot of like procedures and rules in place to kind of like stop the spread of COVID-19 like so much. So things they would do were like the rule of 6. Oh my god, that's kind of ironic now, isn't it, thinking about it? But we would only allow 6 people on the first aisle at a time, and then another like 3 people on the back aisle. And then in May that just got completely thrown out the window. But yeah, we do still have like a limited amount of like customers that we allow in the store, but then it is quite a big store. When those rules were just kind of thrown out the window, it really started to affect me, and it made me really anxious because I just didn't feel like I was being like protected or safe. May was really difficult, like I said, and I lost all of the hope I really had. I was like struggling with my anxiety and depression at this point quite a lot. In my head, I just didn't think it was going to end, and I was just in like a lot of pain, and like my mindset really wasn't good back then because I just wanted it all to end, but I also didn't necessarily want to die. So what ended up happening was I overdosed on painkillers. And it was a Sunday that this happened. I don't know why I remember this, but it was a Sunday, and I then ended up in the hospital 4 days later on the Thursday to just have some like blood tests mainly. Another crucial thing that I forgot to put in my notes was that in April I started talking to an IAPT counsellor over the phone. I completely forgot about that. It did help me quite a lot, like during the whole pandemic, the whole lockdown, first lockdown anyway. It really helped me, like being able to talk to this counsellor about things. This was at the end of the month when I, you know, ended up in the hospital, and basically my bloods came back pretty much normal, apart from one, which I think was like my kidney function, which was slightly high, I want to say. But with that being said, I just feel like, you know, people always say that, oh, your liver is the most important to have like a good function, if you know what I mean. Like, most people would think that it would affect your liver, but it also does affect your kidney. So I was basically just told to, you know, just go home, drink a lot of water. That wasn't it, because I had to go back in on the Friday for repeat blood tests, basically, and they came back completely like normal the next day. And at this point I was like still talking to the counsellor over the phone, and so that did help me with a lot of the things on my mind, and it did help to make me feel a bit better. I was able to actually submit my work in time. There was one part of my work that I hadn't done, but I spoke to my lecturer at the time about it, and you know, he said it was fine, and I think he was marking my work anyway, so it didn't really matter. So I managed to submit that in time, and that, I think that was kind of like the point where I was starting to think about a creative media course, because I remember I was really missing YouTube, just like doing a load of YouTube stuff. in this month, and that's kind of what triggered me to think about the creative media course. And I also think I might have applied for the creative media course at the very end of May as well. Either that or I did it at the very beginning of June. And then June. Moving on to June. In June, lockdown started lifting, and it was also my birthday month. So because lockdown was starting to lift, my boyfriend and I actually decided, like, we talked about it quite a bit, and we kind of decided that, you know, he was going to come here and stay for a few weeks, you know, for 3 weeks, with my birthday, like, in those weeks. I had done, like, I think I had done, like, a lot of filming for June, at, like, the very end of May, during my half term, and to get back into it. But then my laptop broke. At one point, the thing is, it was quite old, to be fair, and I would have needed to invest in a PC soon anyway, which is exactly what I did when my laptop broke. I basically got my birthday money. I used a lot of my birthday money to put, not even a lot of it to put towards my PC, but I tried to calculate everything that I had in my savings to pay for a PC, and I paid like 700 quid for a PC. But it wasn't just a PC, it was like the tower, the monitor and the speakers, and since I have bought like a couple of other bits for it, which basically includes like a mouse pad and like a keyboard wrist rest, slowly building it up to a very expensive setup. So yeah, I actually invested in the PC because I thought it would be better for me in terms of like video editing, because I was doing a lot more of that and I knew I was going to be doing more anyway, so that's why I got the PC. And I returned to YouTube, and I obviously had my birthday with my family and Ryan as well, my 19th birthday. Oh my god, I turned 20 this year. Oh, it must have been June that I applied for the creative media course then. Yes, so it was June that I applied for the creative media course, like the very beginning. And then I also had the interview in June. And it obviously wasn't like an in-person interview, it was over the phone. The lecturer was quite happy with everything, and so I got offered a conditional place. Yeah, I think it was conditional, based off what I was gonna get from my music course, I think. But obviously, like, with that I had no clue what would happen, like, come September. I also decided in June that I was going to participate in Camp NaNoWriMo again in July, so I had started planning for that, because obviously with lockdown lifting my boyfriend started going back to work, and so I would have some time to myself some days to do stuff like that. I made the crazy decision to work on multiple projects pretty much within the same series, which in hindsight did not work, but it was a really good positive month for me. Oh, I'm still talking about June, by the way. Oh, low. And then we move on to July. We might as well, since we were already talking about Camp NaNoWriMo. I participated in Camp NaNoWriMo with my multiple projects and a lot of project hopping. I should not do that. You know, I didn't win doing that. I don't know what I was trying to achieve. I think I was trying way too hard to do everything that I wanted to do. I should have just picked one thing and just focused on it. But also in July I was doing 3 videos a week, and I have to admit 3 videos is a lot. 3 videos is like what full-time YouTubers do. Am I a full-time YouTuber? No. I do this. I have literally filmed 6 videos today, fucking hell. Those 3 videos also included a vlog each week of, like, just a weekly vlog of Camp NaNoWriMo for each week. So I was doing a lot. I was project hopping. Because I was working on multiple different projects, and also working on 3 videos a week. And on top of that, I was doing like 3 or 4 shifts at work. How did I do all of that? Just how? I was crazy to do that. I put down here that it was a good month, a very good month. I'm just like, how? You overloaded yourself with shit that you shouldn't have done. And then we moved to August, which was the month that I actually started planning to go back to college. because I had to financially prepare for it. Yes, I'm going to end up in a student debt. I'm not going to uni, but I'm still going to end up with a student debt because I had to apply for an advanced learner loan. Which basically means that I'm going to be paying the government back in the future if I earn over a certain amount of money in a year. A lot of August was preparing financially for the new college year because it was confusing, it was complicated, people really didn't explain things properly. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to be paying the government back in the future for this course I'm doing. Oh my god, and they add interest. Fucking hell. And then I was also physically preparing myself as well. I think I mean like getting things like supplies for the year. Not that I needed much, but I still did it because I had no clue what I was actually going to be doing come September. And I've also put here that I think I also took on a few like 1 or 2 extra shifts as well, like each week. And I continued to make 2 to 3 videos a week. Just how the fuck did I keep up with that? I'm going to be surprised if I manage to do 1 video a week this year. And I'm not going to push myself to do any more. I'm forcing myself to limit to 1 video a week because more than that is just too much for me. I cannot do it. And so what else did I do in August? Oh, not much by the looks of it. I think that was pretty much for August. That's pretty much it for August. And September. So September I started going back to college because obviously I had to have my induction day on, I think it was the 7th. Yeah, I think it was, because that's when I had my induction day, and I also got my timetable that day. And my original timetable was Mondays and Tuesdays in. Wednesdays would be like an online day for English and maths, but I don't do them, so I didn't like enroll for them because I would have had to enroll for English separately. And then Friday would be online, but that actually got changed after the first 2 weeks of induction because the lecturer that was there was only part-time at our campus and spent the other half of like more time on the other campus that he works on. And so the days got changed to Tuesday and Friday in, and then Monday online, and then Wednesday for me is just a free day. So yeah, not much happened. I met some new people in September. Started on all 3 units, so unit 1, 2 and 4 and 3. At first I enjoyed it, you know. It was a lot of work and I was enjoying it, but unfortunately those type of things don't last long. And once you're in the pit of a college year, that's it. There's no escaping now. Moving on to October, this is when things started to actually pick up again. But I've put here that it was also uneventful. Why? I don't know. Why? But I said not much happened. My days in college did change back to Mondays and Tuesdays. Fridays were back online, so that helped. That was because we got a new lecturer. I suddenly put in here that I learned a lot about camera work in September and October, which yes, I definitely agree with. I also just learned more about everything production wise, like with cameras and how to compose a shot. Is that how you word things? Looking at myself right now, I see shadows under my eyes, but then to be fair, they were probably already there because I've been filming all day. And then a shadow here which isn't as noticeable because of the jumper. So for a lot of people it's just like, you know, this shot looks terrible. But I did learn a lot about camera work and everything like that. Like my skills improved for my YouTube work, which is a bonus, you know. And then at the end of October, during the half term, the November lockdown was announced. Oh, but it wasn't a proper lockdown because the government decided that, oh, schools would be staying open, garden centres were staying open. Why the fuck were garden centres open? Garden centres, out of everything else, were open. Non-essential shops did shut, so that was pretty much the only thing that they stopped running in November. I was still going to college during the November lockdown, even though I really didn't want to be. And so because, you know, I would be still going to college, I actually made the decision to kind of just say to myself that I could take time, you know, my lecturer, the main lecturer that I have, basically said to us if, you know, if we had any issues with the work or college or anything like that getting in, then, you know, to tell her and she would do something if she could. And so I made the decision, not just for like my physical health but my mental health as well, because I didn't feel comfortable getting on a bus during that time, you know, because Tuesdays are like my half days. I was just like, I just said to my lecturer, look, well, not like exactly like that, but I just kind of said to her, I don't feel comfortable coming in on Tuesdays because it's a half day and I have to get the bus home. She said to me that I could just do Tuesdays from home, which was fine with me. And so long story short, I was having Tuesdays and Fridays at home, and Mondays were the only days that I was going in. And yeah, like I said, everything was just starting to have a big impact on my mental health, so I wanted to be able to take that step back. In November, oh also October, I did take a break from YouTube, mainly just because I was overloaded with college work and I just wanted to focus on it. And then I've kind of already talked about November now. We're going to talk about November now, but it was just basically a roller coaster. And you know, I spent the month in lockdown, felt quite down and depressed, and I struggled a lot with my mental health, and I just felt very trapped and alone. And so one of the things I actually started doing was going on afternoon walks on a regular basis. I think I had maybe started doing this I started doing it on a regular basis in November to kind of just help with my mood, and I think it just helped me massively. It helped me a lot. If you are struggling with your mental health, move your body because it will help you. And I know for like a lot of people it's just gonna be like, I'm too down to do anything. Trust me, you've just gotta force yourself sometimes, even though I know it's not always possible. But if you can, just move your body, even if it's just moving your body in the house. When I would go out on my walks, I would try to stay, like, I would be out for like 30 to 60 minutes. I still go on my walks now, to be fair, and I would, you know, go on these walks when I wasn't actually physically going into college or going to work on those days. So I would go on my walks on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays and Saturdays. So I was getting out like 4 times a week. Yes, and November, like I said, I kind of took a break from YouTube as well for like the first half of November anyway, and then I returned because I wanted to do an album review of Your Night Fire's Lie Chapter 1 by The Muted, because they had released that in November and I really wanted to support them. Yes, and also in November my boyfriend had his birthday, and then December, oh boy, it's almost over, but not quite. December was also a roller coaster and quite stressful because I was trying to get a lot of my college work done. I've got it down here, there was a lot of stress and tears, but I ended up talking to my learning mentor about it, and she spoke to my main lecturer about it, and I managed to get an extension on my work. And so since then I've kind of just taken a break from my work, but I do really need to get back to it soon. As I'm filming this, it's still 2020. It's crazy. With my work was supposed to be submitted by the Friday at the end of term, like the 18th I think, but like I said, I got an extension until January the 4th. And there was hope at the beginning of December, because obviously the November lockdown had slowed down the spread of the virus, kind of, but not like properly, not as much as it did as the first lockdown did. You know, I've put down here that the hope started to fade towards the end, and you know, it does look like we're going to be entering a third national lockdown soon. I just wish Boris Johnson would hurry the fuck up and stop dilly-dallying. you know, and just make up his mind, because I'm just sick of it by this point, and I'm just like, I don't really give a fuck. To be completely honest, I am so done with this. I just want it to be over. And I've put down here, really struggling to come to terms with it, but trying to stay positive and use this time to focus on my future, because I put down here that it's just the beginning. And it is true, it is just the beginning of my future. I have a long life to live. I've got a career to pursue, you know, with my music, my writing. This is just the beginning, so, you know, I need to use this time now while I've got it to kind of start on those dreams and make an action plan, because I literally just said that this is just the beginning and I have a long way to go. That's a positive thing. But with that being said, I think that is everything that I needed to talk about. Oh no, there was one more thing that I was going to talk about in this video, which was body image, because I've struggled a lot this year with body image, body weight, because I have put on weight, and it's been really difficult for me, even though, you know, we are in a global pandemic. It's hard for everyone, and I feel like a lot of people are gonna like struggle with like the same thing as me, because, you know, this lockdown has meant that I have stopped doing things that kept me skinny and healthy. But, you know, it's one of those things where I'm just like, you know, at least I'm still alive now, you know. It's been a really big struggle for me this year. It's been a really big struggle for me in 2020, and it's something that I hope to change in 2021 and just be healthier and feel better about myself and not be as miserable. And that's kind of why I'm going to be making a lot of changes in my life, like with my eating and sleeping and exercising and everything like that. A lot is going to change, but I might do a whole vlog about it, but I'm trying to not do as much lifestyle content anymore. Even though I enjoy it, I just want to focus on other content as well. Yes, I have been sat here talking for a really long time. I'm sorry. I know this video is going to end up over half an hour long, but there's nothing I can do about that, because I feel like I have talked about rude. I feel like I've talked about everything that I need to talk about now. And so I'm now going to ask you how your 2020 was. Did you have a good year? No, if you didn't, that's okay. At least you survived and you're alive right now. I think that's the best thing to come out of 2020. Just the fact that you're alive and you survived this year is the best thing, you know, for everyone. I applaud you for doing so well in 2020. I know it sounds really cliche and everything, but, you know, things will get better and we will be out of this pandemic in a few years. I don't want to give anyone too much hope, but just stay safe, stay well, have a good 2021. I will see you again in my next video. Don't know why I said that, but yes, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also make sure to subscribe down below and ding the bell to be notified for every single time I upload, because I upload every Friday at 7 PM GMT. Yeah, all of my social media links will be down in the description for you to check out if you so wish to. I am going to leave this video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.